Hello, welcome to Players in Exile. My name is Phil, and welcome to ways to play Go Shintai of Life's Origin in EDH. Go Shintai of Life's Origin is a green legendary enchantment creature shrine. It costs 3 colourless and 1 green to cast, and it has Wooburg, which is one of each colour: white, blue, black, red, and green. Tap. Return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whenever Go Shintai of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 colourless shrine enchantment creature token. And it's got a 3/4 body. I don't think the body matters that much, and doubt you'll ever actually be attacking with Go Shintai. This isn't about Voltron or Commander damage. So the first thing that comes to mind when you look at Go Shintai of Life's Origin is Shrine Tribal. Although Shrine Tribal is a misnomer because Shrine is not a creature subtype. It is an enchantment subtype. So cards like Shape Changers can't become shrines. And in fact, there are only 17 shrines as it stands in all of Magic at the time of making this video, which is September 2022. We have Go Shintai of Life's Origin itself. We have its cousins, if you like, the Go Shintais. So we have one of each colour. We have the Go Shintai of Ancient Wars, the Go Shintai of Boundless Vigour, the Go Shintai of Hidden Cruelty, the Go Shintai of Lost Wisdom, and the Go Shintai of Shared Purpose. There are a series of 5 Hondens. We have the Honden of Cleansing Fire, the Honden of Infinite Rage, the Honden of Life's Web, the Honden of Night's Reach, and the Honden of Seeing Winds. And we have the Sanctums. We have the Sanctum of Calm Waters, the Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest, the Sanctum of Shattered Heights, the Sanctum of Stone Fangs, and the Sanctum of Tranquil Light. Looking at the Sanctums, and assuming that you're going to play a kind of Shrines Matters type deck, the red and black shrines, such as the Sanctum of Stone Fangs, which says at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of shrines you control. It is those that are going to be doing the work. They're going to kill your enemies. They're going to be how you win the game. On top of those 3 sets of 5, you have one other shrine. Sanctum of All is a 5-colour legendary enchantment shrine, and says at the beginning of your upkeep, you may search your library and or graveyard for a shrine card, put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If an ability of another shrine you control triggers while you control 6 or more shrines, that ability triggers an additional time. So you can imagine if you have Sanctum in All in play, and you start draining people's life and gaining life, and you trigger that twice, the game is going to end very, very quickly. So that would be the core of your deck. You've got your commander and you have 16 shrines. But there are 3 ways in which you can then play the Go Shintai deck. You can play Enchantment Matter. With Enchantment Matter, you're almost definitely going to be playing cards that are enchantments themselves. Cards like Sithis Harvest Hands, Doomwake Giant, Eidolon of Blossoms, Starfield of Nyx, and Sanctum Weaver are all enchantments, and they all check for other enchantments. Sithis Harvest Hand says whenever you cast an enchantment spell, gain 1 life and draw a card. That's your engine. Similar with the Eidolon of Blossoms. The Eidolon of Blossoms says whenever Eidolon of Blossoms or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Actually, that's labelled as Constellation, but that's neither here nor there. Doomwake Giant gives all your opponent's creatures -1/-1 whenever another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control. If we go back to the Go Shintai, you can see that the 1/1 colourless shrine creature tokens that Go Shintai puts into place are also enchantments. So every time one of those comes into play, you're going to trigger Doomwake Giant. And you'll build up a massive enchantments, and you've also got your Shrines Matter, and that's effectively how you're going to win. It's called an Enchantress deck, effectively. And that's all very well and good, but there are a couple of other ways that you could actually take this deck. The next one I'd like to have a look at is to play as a legendary Creatures Matter. And it's not just a legendary Creatures Matter. In some cases, for example, like Reki. Reki just looks at legendary spells. And in fact, it looks at you playing them. So that even counts legendary lands. You've got the different variations of Captain Sisay here. You've got a Seeker. Enables other legendary creatures you control to have vigilance and tap for 1 mana of any colour. Relic of Legends also allows your legendary creatures to tap. But the way it's worded, Relic of Legends is a really, really good card in this sort of scenario, because it says tap an untapped legendary creature you control, add 1 mana of any colour. So Summoning Sickness is not a thing. If you play a legendary creature, you can tap it for mana using Relic of Legends. A Seeker, on the other hand, it gives it the ability to tap for mana, but obviously Summoning Sickness is an issue. Legends Matter is a really strong way of playing this. You can even mix up things like your legendary enchantment gods. There are enough of those to fill the deck alone. All of the shrines themselves are legendary cards. Captain SSL says tap, search your library for a legend or legendary card. Reveal that card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So you can tutor for pretty much any card in your deck. That's the way it's going. You could play Enchantments Matter, as we've seen. You can play Legends Matter, as we've seen. The other really, really interesting way we can play this is to go back and actually look at what Go Shintai actually does for us. Go Shintai of Life's Origin says, Wooburg, tap, return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is graveyard recursion of enchantments. So the other option you've got is to mill yourself, putting really expensive, really big, really powerful enchantments into your graveyard and bring them back from the graveyard by using Go Shintai's ability, paying Wooburg rather than their casting cost and getting the full benefit of that spell but for a cheaper casting cost. It also gets around things like counter spells because you're not actually casting it, you're just returning it from the graveyard to your battlefield. The cards I'm thinking about, Omniscience. Omniscience is the perfect card for this. It's 10 mana, 7 colourless and 3 blue. It's nigh on unplayable in modern Commander because you're never going to get to that sort of level of mana unless you've got something that acts like the largest ritual you can think of. But in this case, rather than casting it, you can mill it out of your library or out of your hand into your graveyard and then bring it into play using Go Shintai of Life's Origin. Nyx Bloom Ancient. Again, it's an enchantment. It's an enchantment creature, but it's still an enchantment. You can bring it into play for 5 mana, one of each colour. You're playing a 5-colour deck, you're going to be able to generate the mana. There are a couple of extra cards that can generate that for you, but you bring that into play, and it's got, if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. All of a sudden, you're even more powerful. Mind's Dilation, 7 mana, 5 colourless, 2 blue. Lets you play with your opponent's spells. Again, an expensive enchantment, and you can get it out for cheaper using Go Shintai of Life's Origin. How do you get them into your graveyard? In this case, what I've gone for is hand cycling. So I've gone for cards like Windfall, which says each player discards their hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded that way. That's super disruptive to your opponent's battle plans, falls right into yours. You get to refresh your hand. You may then get to cast another card like Windfall. Let's say, for example, Change of Fortune. Change of Fortune says discard your hand, then draw a card for each card you've discarded this turn. Well, you may have discarded 6 cards and you're then drawing 6 more, but you're putting cards into your graveyard. You can, of course, use cards that will actually just mill you straight from your library into your graveyard, but in this example, I've gone for the hand cycling because it can be quite disruptive for your opponents as well when you play Windfall style cards. So there you have it. There's 3 different ways that you can play Go Shintai of Life's Origin in EDH. You can play Enchantments Matter, you can play Legends Matter, or you can play Enchantment Recursion from the graveyard and self-mill. I hope you found that interesting. If you have, don't forget to like, subscribe, click on the notification bells, and come back and watch us next time.